Hi guys, and welcome back to Grandpa Playing Games. I've received a lot of questions recently as to why I haven't been recording more Microsoft Flight Simulator videos as I began doing when we first created this channel. Well, I hope this short little video will make some of my reasons apparent. To give you a bit of background, I've been involved in Flight Simulator ever since FS1, which was before it was even a Microsoft product. Back then it was produced by a company called ASOBO and had very simple wireframe graphics. Then once Microsoft acquired the publishing rights for ASOBO Flight Simulator in 1982, I continued to fly and purchase almost every version of Microsoft Flight Simulator since then. So it was a very sad day for me personally when Microsoft announced the closure of its Aces game studio in 2009, marking the end of an era as a Microsoft Flight Simulator was not going to be produced anymore. It had culminated in the release of Microsoft FSX in 2006, and that seemed to be the version that we were going to be stuck with forever. So I and a lot of the Flight Simulator community were caught off guard but incredibly surprised and delighted when Microsoft and ASOBO announced that they were going to be releasing a new version of Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, over 10 years later in July 13th, 2020. Of course, this wasn't the first announcement by Microsoft, as in 2012 they launched the ill-fated Microsoft Flight, which was much reviled by the Flight Simulator community as not being a serious attempt at reintroducing a flight simulator product, but more of a game. So when ASOBO and Microsoft jointly announced Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, it was going to be a flight simulator first experience, I and many others of the Flight Sim community regarded the announcement with cautious optimism.
Hi there.
I was fortunate enough to be an alpha and then a beta tester for the new product, having even to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, with Microsoft and ASOBO, not to release any information about the product prior to its launch. But through that experience, I found that indeed ASOBO seemed to be listening very closely to the members of the Flight Sim community and taking their concerns into consideration in order to release the best possible product that they could. So I was very pleased when Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 came out and was launched. Although, you know, it was not without its problems, of course. Many people experienced crashes and unfortunate failures to be able to map their controls and that sort of thing. But overall, the improvement to the flight sim experience through the eye candy, the graphics, and the overall quality of the flight simulator was such a significant enhancement from, you know, FSX that we'd experienced previously, that, you know, it looked like we were going forward very confidently into a future that promised to bring the next best thing to reality onto your desktop. And things only seem to be getting better and better with the introduction of at least 15 major sim updates, free aircraft and city updates, all free of charge by Microsoft and ASOBO. Then Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 was announced. I was excited by the new Flight Simulator, to be frank, and looking forward to its introduction. So I was not one of these people that bashed ASOBO over the poor release of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 when it did launch, or about the fact that it didn't even have the marketplace available until nearly 5 months after the introduction of the simulator itself. Or indeed about many of the other bugs, because I had faith and confidence that ASOBO would be addressing all of these concerns in the same manner that they had with the introduction and the lifespan of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And I really loved the visual appeal of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 when it came out. I didn't even mind the gaming or gamified elements of the simulator, because I thought that that did provide a little bit of a purpose to just general flying around. So with all of these good things, why is Grandpa grumpy, and why has it taken so long to release a new Flight Simulator 2024 video? Unfortunately, it's now been 5 months since the release of Flight Simulator 2024, and I, like many other people, are experiencing so many problems. In actual fact, in trying to release a Flight Simulator video, I've had over 20 attempts to try to produce a video without Flight Simulator 2024 crashing. And that's the big problem. It is still unstable and virtually unusable for people like me and many others around the world. So ASOBO, please, go back to the way that you used to support your user base. Listen to their concerns, address the bugs and the issues, and get back to the core values that made your Microsoft Flight Simulator such a great product in the first place. Sure, we love new features, but first and foremost, we just want to fly. Fly in a simulator as good as this has the potential to be. So thank you, ASOBO. Thank you for all the good times and the promise of a better future ahead. Please do address these concerns, and we of the Flight Simulator community will thank you for it.